Hi all, very good morning and welcome to the webinar. Today's webinar topic is 30 minutes mobile app automation challenge. I'm Nilesh and I head the pre-sales activities at pCloudy. This webinar is scheduled for 1 hour and typically I'll be covering the topic in 40 to 45 minutes of time, and last 15 to 20 minutes we will be keeping it for the question and answer. So uh, if you have any questions during the webinar or towards the end of the webinar, please feel free to uh, raise your questions in the GoToWebinar Windows question tab, and we will try to answer all the questions if time permits. Else, we will definitely get back to you on one-on-one basis. So let's move on to the agenda for today's webinar. So today's agenda for the webinar is we will quickly look into the introduction of pCloudy, and we will also see the pCloudy use cases. So where all pCloudy can be used in the product development lifecycle for any mobile applications. We will see a 30 minutes challenge for creating the first automated script for mobile application, execute the test scripts on multiple devices and configure the Jenkins to run the cases on pCloudy devices, followed by the question and answer. So this is a very small, sweet and short agenda we have for today's webinar. So yeah, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so let's quickly see the brief about pCloudy. What is pCloudy? Who are we? What we do at pCloudy? So pCloudy is basically a mobile device cloud test platform. Basically, it has got the different mobile devices remotely available on the cloud. You can access those devices remotely to do primarily the manual testing or automation execution on these devices. We'll see what exactly we support on top of the plain mobile application cloud. You can test the native applications, hybrid applications, mobile web applications, and WPA applications. So basically, you can use all kind of applications to test it on real devices at pCloudy. And what else we support in the this platform is we also provide you the device analytics for the devices to be used for testing. We provide manual testing access. You can perform the manual testing on real devices at pCloudy. You can do the test automation execution or test automation creation on the pCloudy. And at the same time, you can also do or perform in-field UX testing using pCloudy. So these are the unique offerings which we have on our platform, which you can use to expedite your testing and make meaningful testing for your mobile applications. Okay, so all this, whatever I have explained just now, can be achieved through the web by the test engineer. So if any test engineer is using this platform, they can actually use the web portal, and then with the help of the browsers, any standard browser over the web, they can actually achieve all these things on pCloudy.com. They can use the device for manual testing. They can get the device analytics. They can do the test automation. They can use even the this platform for in-field UX testing. When it comes to the developers, even developers can use this platform by using the plugins. So we do have plugins available for our platform, which can be used in conjunction with the Android Studio or Xcode. So they can actually use this platform to debug their applications once they develop the application, or they can also use it for their mobile application testing. So this platform is primarily meant for both testers and developers. Let's see what are all offerings which we have. We have three primary offerings at pCloudy. The first one is very obvious, is a public cloud. In the public cloud offering, if you see, we have 500 plus real devices, the widest variety of devices available on this cloud. So you can use any of those devices which has got real operating SIM. So you can test your applications on cellular networks, or you can also test your applications on the mobile Wi-Fi networks. We have 4 different locations across the globe where we have our data centers located. So we have our data centers in India, USA, Australia, and Philippines. Second offering which we have in this product is called private cloud. So private cloud is basically an instance of the public cloud which is dedicatedly created for a specific customer, and any customer can use that privately, and all the devices connected to that particular cloud will be available 24/7. So some customers do need 24/7 devices, and they want a cloud to be used explicitly by their employees, so they can go ahead with the private cloud. And the last offering which we have is again a pretty unique to pCloudy is on-premise cloud. So if you have certain devices, you have already invested on the devices and you want to leverage those devices, you can always go ahead with the on-premise cloud, wherein we will set up the cloud infrastructure within your premises behind your firewall, and you can connect your own devices to that cloud. And likewise, you can go ahead with the you can create your own remote test lab using the on-premise cloud. So these are the 3 different offerings or flavors which we have in pCloudy. So let's see the pCloudy use cases. What are all pCloudy use cases we have, wherein you think that pCloudy can fit in if we are looking at the typical product life cycle, right? So we just try to depict a small product life cycle. I have, for the sake of simplicity, I have depicted the phases in a very minimal way. The phases might vary organization to organization, but typically for the sake of this example, what I have done is I have taken 3 phases here. Typically the development and test, pre-release, and market release. Yeah. So the very first track is the developer track, where developers create the code and they also change the code whenever there are some defects or when they want to add new features, right? So they will create the code and they will change the code and then creates a new build. And once the new build is created, typically what we have seen is they will run the automation test runs for unit testing on the real devices. So this is what typically we have seen so far. Once the automation test run happens and the test cases passes, then the decision, they will be taking the decision whether to push it for the QA or not. Now, won't it be beneficial if they get automated health check analysis of their app at this stage itself? Yeah. So, well, we are actually providing, the pCloudy is helping developers to achieve both these activities at the same stage. So you can see now here automated unit test runs can be executed by the developers. At the same time, AI-based automated health check is possible using pCloudy. So you can see now the pCloudy is fitting right at these 2 places, so you can get benefited not only by unit testing but also by getting the AI-based automated health check for your application. So next comes the QA track. There are 2 primary activities. So one is the manual testing of new features on real devices and execution of automated regression tests. Right, this is what typically happens in the QA when the new build is released for their test. So the QA teams can use the pCloudy at this particular stage for both the functions, like for doing it for manual testing and also for the automation regression test executions. Now, once this phase is clear, it can be released. I mean, once this is done, it can be released in the market. Yeah, once the bug fixes are done, once the build is pretty stable and all the test cases are passed, all the functionalities are achieved. After this particular stage, the application is good to go in the market. That's how it typically happens. But this is always advisable. Yeah, it is always advisable to get tested in the real life field condition. So you can see here we have something called real life crowd testing. So if that is the case, if somebody wants to go ahead with this advice, then they can always use pCloudy again, because pCloudy does support or facilitate the real-time field testing of your mobile application. So pCloudy provides support for the crowd testing, and this makes pCloudy a full lifecycle application test platform. Yeah. So moving on to the next slide. Yeah, once after this, you can actually release the application to the market. Now coming to the next slide. Um, well, so for today's our focus is automation. So let's look at the QA track again closely and see what happens. So as we saw in the previous slide, QA track has two primary activities. Yeah, the first one is new feature testing on real devices and execution of regression test. Right. So in a true continuous testing environment, if you want to see, the regression test should be triggered using a CI system as soon as the build is pushed to QA, right? So if that is the case, we are just saying, we have missed one small activity here, and that activity is creating the automation test cases or creating the automation test scripts for the new features which we have just created in this particular release, right? Before we are going ahead with the regression test. So we have to, when we are working in Agile, what we have to do is we have to always keep updating our test cases also, test scripts also. So this is what is coming here as a missing part. Now all three activities listed here are supported by pCloudy. So if you just see here, the integrating with the CI tool, the automation execution on the real devices, and automation test creation, everything is covered here as a part of pCloudy. So pCloudy does support in this particular scenario. And this is the place where most of the teams are struggling today. So pCloudy is coming to help this kind of scenarios here. And if following and if you really look at it, there are three areas which are covered, and that will be the absolute game changer if you really look at it. One is, of course, easy automation for the script creation. Second is you can run the test on devices in parallel without making change to complex configurations or files. That is what is achieved when I say here we can run it on multiple devices. And of course, the third one is integration with the CI systems like Jenkins with few clicks. So if you are getting everything together, I think it is a great combination, because you will be saving a whole lot of time while doing this testing. So let's see how we can achieve all this using pCloudy. Well, so basically this is a 30 minutes challenge. That's how the webinar topic even suggests. So what we will be doing here is basically we will be showcasing you how to create an automation test case for mobile applications. We will showcase you how to execute the test cases on real devices, and we will also see how you can execute the test scripts in CI setup using Jenkins. So all these three things we will be seeing it within 30 minutes of time now. And it is pretty simple here. So let's see what we have in the stores for this to achieve. So we have something called Automation Studio. This is the new feature which we have released recently. So Automation Studio is the key here. Automation Studio is the feature which will help you to achieve automation test creation very quickly on the real devices. It will also help you to create the complex scenarios of test flows, and it will also help you to execute those test scripts on the real devices in pCloudy. Okay, so let's move on now. Let's start the actual demo here. So what I will be doing is I'll be quickly showcasing you a small video here, because in order to save some time, what I have done is I have actually saved I've created one video for this particular activity. So I'll just play the video. I'll just explain what I am doing it. So basically you'll have to go to the device.pcloudy.com. This is the place where you can go and once you are registered with pCloudy, you can just log in there and you can just go and enter here. You will be taken to the dashboard. So now you have to go to the automation page here, automation window or automation tab. Once you come to the automation tab, you will be taken to this particular page where you can see it says creating the automation scripts was never so easy because we are using the automation studio called we are having an internal name called opkey. So you just need to click on this launch and start working with pCloudy, and we will actually open the opkey or the Android studio, automation studio in another tab. So let me just give some time to open that particular page here. So once this page opens, you can see the UI for the Automation Studio, wherein you can actually add the applications to be tested. You can create the test cases. You can create the object repository. You can create the function library. Yeah. So this is how you can see it now. Now, when you come to this particular page, you can either connect here and click a new file, but instead of that, we will just go to the tools first and say, at the mobile management, we'll go to the mobile management, and from the application management we will actually go and choose a file on which you want to test your application or for which you want to create a test case automation test script. So you have to just go and select the appropriate file or the application from your local drive. Once you do that, here in this case I am using book my show bms.apk, and I say open. So now you can see the file is getting uploaded to the automation studio very quickly. And once the automation the file is uploaded to the automation studio, it will start doing the neonifying the application. So it will do a kind of instrumentation for that particular file. And here you can see now this will take some time because this usually takes a little longer time to neonify the application. And once that is done, you can see that particular application will start appearing it here in the page here, right? So you can see now bookmyshow.bms.apk, the application which I have chosen, starts appearing it here. Now I have already uploaded a couple of other applications there for the sake of my testing earlier. So for this particular demo which I'll be showcasing you today, we will be using Delta application, the application which is already here. Because it was a very big application to be uploaded, I have actually considered bms.apk, but you can have any application. There is no limitation as such for this. So once you upload the application, it gets neonified, and then you can come here. You can just close this wizard, come to the here you can just select the file. You can just create a test case. Now once you create a test case, you can just provide the name of that. Let's say I have, in this particular case, I have written flight booking case. So it will take you to the view where you can actually create the test scripts. Now, if you see, I have just clicked on the record button here. Once I click on the record button, I will be shown 4 different recorders. So we have web recorder, we have mobile recorder, we have desktop recorder, we have Oracle Forms recorder. So in this case, I'll be selecting the mobile recorder. Once I select the mobile recorder, it will show me the mobile recorder's view where I can add a new file which will act as the object repository. So I'm just adding a new file here, and you can rename it as per your test case or whatever name you want to use. I'm just giving flight booking. Okay, and once I give the flight booking, that becomes the new object repository for my test suite test cases. Now here, if you have noticed, once I select the appropriate flight the object repository, it will enable me to either connect to pCloudy or local device. So in case if you have a local device connected to your local system, you can actually click local and use that device to record your workflow, or you can use directly pCloudy. So the demo here I'll be showcasing is on pCloudy. So I just click on pCloudy, and you see once I select on pCloudy, it will open the pCloudy portal. here itself, and it will start showcasing all the devices. So here you can see all the devices which we have on pCloudy starts appearing it here. In the version number, you can see all the different versions, the way we have segregated all the devices on pCloudy. Those will start appearing it here, and from here you can go and select the appropriate device for which you want to record your workflow. So in this case, I'll be taking Nokia 5. You can see Nokia 5 I have just selected, and then I have to select the application for which I want to test my for which I want to create my test case. So I have just selected here, you just see I have just selected Delta, which I have earlier notified to you, though I have uploaded book my show bms.apk, that is just for the sake of understanding, but I wanted to showcase you something from the Delta application. So I have just selected Delta application, I have selected the device of my choice, and then I'm saying finish, and that's when we will be going ahead and connecting to the device. So the next page which you'll be seeing is basically the Automation Studio plus a combination of pCloudy, where you can see the device. Yeah, it may take some time because it has to book the device, and then it has to go and connect to that device and bring that device back to the Automation Studio. So it will take some time. Well, so now you can see here the device is getting connected. You can see the mobile recorder view here. You can see the test case recording or test case creating view on the left hand side, and this is a mobile recorder which is basically coming from pCloudy. So if I just go ahead, you can see now, I'll just stop the video for a moment. So you can see here the video in the mobile recorder, you can see the device which I have selected, which is Nokia 5, and with all the functionalities which you can see it here. Now the application which we have chosen is already installed and it is open for you. So I should be able to just interact with this application on this device and do my workflow. Whatever workflow I'll be doing it here will automatically get recorded and will start appearing it here. So I'll just quickly showcase you. So I'm just coming here, and I'm just going to the record button here. I'm just clicking record and clicked on this particular button here, which is basically the blue. Then I'm selecting continue as a guest, and you would have noticed when I actually clicked on continue as a guest, this particular action is getting recorded here, which says click on continue as a guest. So whatever I'm actually doing it on the device is getting automatically recorded. So basically this is a zero code test script. You don't have to write even a single line of code, typical code, to create the test cases. It's simple recording of your workflow. So you can just see it here. Now I'll just enter from Boston. I'm just entering from the virtual keyboard as Boston now. So you can see and I'm just selecting Boston from the drop down menu there. I'm going to field, and I'm selecting maybe I'll just try to write new there for New York or whatever it comes in the first list. So let's say, yeah, New York area airport. So I'm just clicking on New York area airport now. Okay, now I'm just going and choosing the date. So I want to go ahead and let's say I want to give 5th of this month, and return date is on 8th, and say apply. So whatsoever I'm doing on the device is already getting recorded on the left hand side view here, and it's just a moment. Okay, so now it will start giving me the flight results. Yeah, so it has given me the flight results, which I have just scrolled a bit, and then okay, I'm just clicking on view details, and then maybe I'm just okay, let's go to the options here and click on settings. Yeah, and with this I'm thinking, okay, my test case is over. I don't want to create a very complicated test case here because it's just the beginning. So I've just created a small test case. I have just saved it. When I say exit or stop, it will actually ask me to save. So I'm just saving the test script now. Again, it will take some time to save it. Now once the test case is saved, you can see the device got released. It has gone back to the pCloudy, and you are back to the test case flight booking test case, whatever we have just recorded. Now, once you record the test flow, now it is not the case that once you record the test workflow, you'll have to just be with that test case, or you just need to use that as is. If you want, if you wish to, change the test case by manipulating some steps here, if you want to insert some step here, you want to add some step, you want to remove some steps, you can very well do everything. Now, as I was explaining some time back, basically this is based on the keyword driven test plan or engine which we have, right? So you can we are actually providing you the keywords. We have 500 plus keywords which are plain English keywords, like the one which you are seeing it here, like click, type text on edit box, something like this. So if you want to do that, you can actually do that. I will just show you how to add a keyword. So I'm just, for the sake of demonstration here, I am just clicking on one of the step here, and let's say I say right click and say add a step, right? So the moment I'll say add step, I can actually enter the steps from here. So on this pane, you can see we have all the keywords. So you can choose the keyword which you want to add and insert it here. So let me go to maybe yeah, APM, and select flick, for example, yeah, and just click on the add button there, and you can see now that particular flick has actually appeared here. This is the place where I want to insert my new keyword or new step, which I can actually do it. Now, if I don't want to do that, let's say if I've just inserted, but if I just want to delete it, you can very well delete this step. So this way, you can actually add, delete, or modify your test scripts, the way you want. Okay, so once this is done, now the first part of the demonstration, what we have spoken sometime back in the agenda, is to create a simple test case, right? So we have just now finished creating the first automation test case. With this procedure itself, we have already created the test script. Now I have to show you how to execute this same script on some other physical or real device, right? So to run or execute, you just need to again go to this tab here. You just select, okay, let's save it. You just go and select the project workspace now. Okay, I'm just selecting the project workspace. Unless you select, nothing will happen. And then I just go and say add a test suite. So I'm just adding a test suite. I'm just giving the name to my test suite. Okay, grouping flight delta. Now, once you create the test suite, you can see here we are actually going to the book flight delta, the test suite pane. This is the area where you can see the test suite, the details of the test suite. Now, it may so happen that you are creating a whole lot of test cases. You might be creating 10, 15, or 20 or 100 test cases, right? And you may not want to execute all the test cases in every cycle, right? You may not want to do that always. It all depends on what kind of build you are getting, what kind of bug fixes you have, what kind of features you are releasing, or what kind of stable features you want to test it, right? So even if you have written 100 cases or 200 cases, you can always create a test suite and select the test cases which you want to execute it there. So it's that simple. I mean, I have already created few test cases here. You can see we have something called local info, delta flow, demo labs, flight bookings, right? So flight booking is something which I have just created for this particular application. So if I want to add that test case here, I can simply go here and drag this particular flight booking to this this pane here in the test suite. So let's see that. So I'm just going here, selecting the flight booking, and then entering here, and then that's it. So in this way, I can actually keep on adding. The same way I have added flight booking, I can add a lot of test cases here. And if I want to disable, I just need to click on this to disable it, so it will not be executed, or I can remove back by pushing it back here to this pane, right? So this way I can keep on adding the test cases which I want to execute it on real devices or pCloudy devices. Yeah, so let's move on. Now, once you select the appropriate test cases, once you add the appropriate test cases to the test suite, you just need to go and click on run on pCloudy. You can see here I have said run on pCloudy, this symbol here which says run on pCloudy. So I'm just clicking on that. The moment you click that, it will open one more execution wizard. Now in this wizard, you will have to select the session name. Now by default, it has taken the session name which is a system generated, but you can always modify this session name based on your custom needs. You can choose the build on which you want to execute if you have a build system there, and you can also go and select the agent. So now I'm just going and selecting a trial agent here, and you can also go and select the generic plugin. So now I have OpKey mobility plugin. By the way, this is a tool agnostic platform, so you can actually execute the test cases for any underlying test frameworks. You can use it for Calabash, RobotM, or even APM. So any open source test frameworks you can execute these test cases with. So I'm just clicking on next and going here for the device selection. So now again, it's a pCloudy execution wizard. So you can see here, now we started showing you again the list of devices which we have on the cloud. So based on different OS versions, you can see all the devices here. Now we are into 8.0.0, and there are 5 devices available for this particular OS version, Nokia 5, Pixel, and Samsung. So we have done the recording on Nokia 5. So let me just go and select some device now. Let's say I'm going and selecting the Pixel and say next and say complete. Once I do that, now it will take some small time to fetch the devices from the pCloudy, and it will start booking that device, and then it will start executing the device. So this is the execution wizard. You can see here, now this is the console for the execution, and you can start seeing the logs here, how your execution is progressing. Okay, so I'll just switch it on again, and you can just see it now here. The logs will start going in some time. Then you can see here it is already started, and you can see from where it is taking what, it is waiting for the plugins. All that things you can monitor from here, and it will also showcase you that the book is the device is booked. The moment it says booking the device, the moment it says booking the device, it means the device is booked by the platform now from the automation studio, and you can go and view. Now the advantage here with pCloudy is, even if the device is remotely available, even if the device is in some data center which you cannot access physically, you can still, when this execution is happening, you can still access that device from device.pcloudy.com, and you can view what exactly is happening on the device. So let's see that. Okay, so once this is done, I'm just coming back to the device.pcloudy.com. I'm just going to the devices tab and clicking on my bookings. So once I do on my bookings, you can see here in my bookings page, we will be seeing the device which you have just chosen from the automation studio. So we have chosen Google Pixel XL, and that's what is being shown here in my bookings page. Now I just need to click on this button here which says connect, and once you connect it, you'll be taken to the connection wizard, connection page, and here on this page you can see the execution. Whatever we have done on whatever recording we have done with the Delta application on that device, same thing will start happening here on this, right? So now it is yet to start. It is just saying it has got the device. Yeah, now we can see everything is started working in the similar fashion as we have actually recorded the script. So it will first click on the right button, yeah, then it will go and continue as a guest. It will enter Boston. Okay, so you can see here the UI is a little bit because of the screen size of what we have used there and what we have used here. So it is actually still it is going and working in similar fashion as we have done. Now it will enter the dates, and we have selected 5 and 8th of April for the return journey. So whatsoever we have done with whatever delay we have given, everything is counted here, and you can actually do it. In fact, if you want to add certain delays with certain weight in your test scripts, that is also possible. You can actually do that. You can also, in case you are not able to find the exact object name, you can also go and check the set the XPath there. So you can actually go and set the XPath for the object name, and it will start working there. So irrespective whether you are getting the object name or not, you can still go ahead and record the test flow. Yeah, so we have just the recording is almost the execution is almost done. So we are just coming to the okay, now it is yet to done. Okay, I just wanted to go there and see you are seeing the logs there. Yeah, in the op key tab, if I go, you can still see the logs happening there. And then yeah, we went to the options, we went to the settings, and then yeah, that's how my test case got over. Okay, I'm coming back to the OpKey side, and you can see here it says the OpKey mobility launcher got exited. Yeah, and below that you can see after some small wait, it will stop the test case execution from the OpKey side. Also, it will finish the connection with that. So I'm just coming down, and you can see run complete, results will be uploaded shortly. So with this, you have just seen that the execution part of the pCloudy. Now here, for the sake of timing issues here, what I have done is I have actually selected only one device for the execution. The way I have selected one device, you can go and select multiple devices. You can select 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 devices. There is no limitation as such. The only challenge here at this moment is when you want to go and see the execution on pCloudy, you have to open the device in multiple tabs and then keep watching it there. So we are working on that also, wherein you can see the execution on multiple devices in a single view, where we will be showing you 3 to 6 devices at a single time, and you can see execution happening on those devices parallelly. Even now the execution is happening parallelly, but the only thing is, since we are not able to showcase you in a single view, you will have to keep changing the tabs to see all these devices separately. Okay, so once the execution gets over, the next thing which is pretty important is again the reporting part. So you'll have to see how we generate the reports. So you can just come here and click on this button which says show results, and this is how the results will be shown to you. You can expand this test case. You can just keep on expanding the different iterations. The first iteration, you can see what exactly steps we have done. Now if you just click it here on this, I have actually entered Boston, right? So you can see here I have first entered Boss, which was in a lowercase, and then I have selected Boss from capital, which was actually coming from the drop down box. So that is you can monitor this. Now if you just see and go to the next one, that small new I have entered, and then there was something capital new was written there. So this way you can just see it here, and then you can also see each step how long it took to execute. So this way you can also monitor how long it is taking for each test case to get executed. Okay, so once your execution is done, you can actually go and release the device back to the device cloud. And with this part, we have just finished the execution part on the real devices. Now, coming to the third part of the demo, which is about Jenkins, how to configure Jenkins for the CI, in your CI. So I'll just quickly showcase you here. I'm just opening the Jenkins here now. I'll be showcasing you how you can do how you can create a new job here, and in the interest of time, what I will be doing is I'll be showcasing you the existing one here, but I'll also show you how to use that new one. So basically we have plugins available. We have plugins available for Android Studio, Eclipse, and also for the Jenkins. So you can download the Jenkins plugin from our portal. You can see all the documentation available on our portal. So you just download the Jenkins plugin from our portal and add it to the Jenkins here, and now you can see how I'm creating the new job. So I've just created Delta execution, just coming here, and here when you are actually adding the build, you have to select the moment you enter you install the plugin for Jenkins in your local Jenkins. In the build field, you will start getting execute test suite on pCloudy. So this particular option will start appearing it in your build history here. You just need to select that. And once you select that, you can see it will ask me to enter the cloud URL, the username, the API keys. Then in the steps 2, it will ask me to put CLI path, app path, duration, and so on. So this is the field where you have to enter the credentials. Basically, it's a device https://device.pcloudy.com, the URL, cloud URL which you are using. Username will be typically your username, registered username on pCloudy. API key is the password API key which you can fetch it from device.pcloudy.com. We have this key available in the settings folder, so you can just go to your settings and get the username and API key from there. That you'll have to enter it here. CLI path, app path is something which I'll be explaining. So what I will be doing is I'll quickly open the existing build which I have created some time back, and we'll just showcase you this particular fields. Yeah, so I'm just going to pCloudy Jenkins demo. I'm just coming here to configuration, and you can see here in the build path I have entered https://device.pcloudy.com. This is my username, this is my API key, and at CLI path I'll be actually giving the complete java-jar, the jar file for the application for which I have created this particular Jenkins build. Then I'll be adding the cloud URL, the username, API key, app path, devices. This is all in the sake of percentage, right? So these are basically the placeholder for taking the arguments from the places which you have actually just added a little above. Yeah, so if you can just see the cloud URL, this is the cloud URL which I am taking it from, username from here, API key from here, duration and app path from here, right? So this is what I'll be actually doing. You can change the duration or whatever time you want. Let's say you want to book the device, your execution time is maybe half an hour or 45 minutes. You can just give 45 minutes here, and you can select the appropriate platform, whether you want to do it for Android or iOS, and then you can select the devices from here. This is the list of devices. You can just select the devices, and once that is done, you can actually build the job. So I'm just clicking on build now, and you can see the new job, which will be job number 8, will be created now here. And if I just click on the change console, you can see the console here. Yeah, so with this I'll be stopping it here for the sake of from the Jenkins point of view, because for Jenkins the execution part will again consume some 10 minutes of my time. So I thought I will just stop it there, and we'll just move on to the next part here, right? So we have seen now the Jenkins. I mean, configuring the Jenkins in your local system is pretty simple. You can simply and very quickly configure the Jenkins job the way I have explained just now, and from Jenkins you can actually run or trigger the execution on pCloudy devices. So once you trigger, when you have seen in the video that I have triggered, it has actually started the job. It was actually connecting to the pCloudy and getting the device which I have chosen, and the build whatever was given there on that build, it would have started the same testing which I have written the test cases for. So this way you can actually see the 3 parts just now here. One is automation test creation, automation test execution, and the execution of cases using CI system or the Jenkins tool. Okay, so I think you can see my you can see my screen here. Okay, so let's quickly check the summary of what we have seen some time back, and then move on to the next slide into Q&A session. So yeah, we have quickly just to summarize what we have seen how to open the Automation Studio, how we can actually open and work with the Automation Studio is something which we have seen some time back. We have also seen how we can actually create the first mobile app automation test scripts on the real device. So this is something which I want to highlight, that the devices on which we have created the test automation script is a real physical device. It's not an emulator or simulator. So it was a real physical device. We have also seen how to edit the recorded test cases in case you have to add certain things or remove certain things. You are actually having freedom to add the new keywords which we have in our dictionary. We have 500 plus keywords. In case a specific keyword which you are looking for your specific use case, and if it is not there, you can also create the keyword, or you can ask us and we will create the keyword and give it to you. And we have seen how to execute the automation test cases on real devices on pCloudy. I wanted to showcase you the parallel execution, but because of the limitation as of now which we have, that I cannot show two devices on a single page. I didn't want to showcase it here in the demo, but yeah, you can still go ahead and execute it on parallel devices, on multiple devices, maybe 2, 3, 10, or 15, whatever you want. The only thing is, the only challenge, as I was explaining, that you may not be able to see all the devices on a single view, as in case of if you are running directly from the APM, we are showing you something called live view, where you can see all the devices on a single page in a single view. That is something which you cannot see from here as of now, but we are working on that, and very soon that will be available. And the last part which we have seen some time back is about how to configure the Jenkins and run the automation test cases on pCloudy. Yes, so we have seen everything, and if you would have noticed, if you would have counted the time, basically the time which I took to record the work test case, create the test scripts, execute the test scripts, and even if I include the Jenkins part in that, or if I just give the Jenkins away, I actually took 10 to 15 minutes maximum, including Jenkins part which I have shown. But if you exclude the Jenkins also, and if you see, I have taken hardly 10 minutes to create my automation script. So I know this was not a very complicated test script. It was a little straightforward, simple test script. But yes, if you wish, you can create the automation test script, even a complex scenario, within 30 minutes. So that's why we are calling it a 30 minutes challenge automation mobile application automation test script creation webinar. Yeah. So with this, I would like to conclude now by saying summary here. So we can actually move on to the Q&A section, and if you have any questions, as I have requested earlier, you can just ask the questions on the questions tab in your GoToWebinar window, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm started getting the questions here. Wow, very good. So I'll start answering the questions. Let me see how many questions I can answer. There are so many questions asked by a lot of guys here now. Okay, so the first question is from Mike. So Mike is asking a question: can I automate hybrid mobile applications in Automation Studio? So yes, yes, Mike, you can actually automate hybrid mobile applications also using the Automation Studio. In fact, if you really look at it, we support both native applications, hybrid applications, and even for that matter, mobile web applications. So any application you have, you can actually go ahead and create a test automation script by simply recording the same. Thanks. The next question is by Divya. The question is how to do the data-driven test. Yeah, so Divya, I didn't have much more time here. There was some challenge for me to showcase it here, but actually data-driven testing is pretty much possible here. It's a very exhaustive platform which we have. So we have something called data sheets, which looks pretty similar to the Excel files which we have, and you can enter the data in that data sheets, the Excel's kind of format which I was talking about, and you can pull that data from your test cases the way you are actually doing it with the APM. So that is pretty much possible here. There's one more question by Divya again. Recorded script is of which language? So Divya, basically the Automation Studio which we have is our proprietary platform, proprietary engine here, and there are a whole lot of other, different languages which we are using inside. So the clicks which you have seen, the on the left hand side we have shown you certain clicks, then click on object 0 or click on this or flick which I have shown. These are all keywords which we have written in plain English for the sake of understanding. So we really do not need any developer or the a person who has good knowledge in Java. Any engineer, any manual test engineer, or anybody who is just having some small information about the testing can actually create these test cases. With that mindset, we have created this keyword. So it's a plain English keywords which you will be seeing it here on the front end. But in the back end, yes, we have the test cases written in our own way. We are using .NET, we are using C#, we are using Java, we are using a whole lot of things in the background which is not exposed to anyone here, right? So when you connect, you would have noticed that when we were actually executing the test case, it was asking me the mobility plugin, right? So I have said that it has OpKey mobility plugin. So likewise, as I said, it's a tool agnostic platform. So if you want to do it with the execute with the APM, for example, right? So this machine code, whatever we have within our OpKey, will convert the moment you select the appropriate plugin. It will convert the code into the that particular plugin format which that plugin understands or which that platform understands. Let's say I select I select APM. So the code which we have, which cannot be understood by anyone, that will be automatically converted into the APM framework, and then it will be given to the APM form. If I select Robotium for that matter, it will actually select, it will convert the scripts into Robotium format, and then it will execute it. So that's why we are calling it as a tool agnostic platform. I hope I have answered your question. Okay, so there is a question by Gary. Okay, so the question by Gary is also very similar to what Divya has asked, or just what I have answered right now. But let me again answer this question. So Gary has asked me, can I use these recorded scripts to run on any local system with existing APM scripts? So if I understood your question correctly, Gary, you're asking, can you use the scripts which you have recorded locally on your local system with or in conjunction with the APM scripts which you already have written for something, right? Okay, so yeah, it is possible. It is possible. We do have a feature in Automation Studio wherein you can actually export the code which you have documented or which you have just created. Now this created code is again into the plain English format, right? As I was explaining to Divya in the previous question. So you can, when you are actually exporting the code from Automation Studio, we are actually exporting it in a Java format, Java APM format. So if you are using Java APM, you can very well use these test scripts in your existing setup with your existing framework. I hope I have answered your question, Gary. The next question is by Sina Bedi. Can we do database validations if needed while running our automation tests? So yes, you can also do the database validations when your automation test case is running. So unfortunately, I was not able to showcase you that, but you can always register with pCloudy. You can just make your hands dirty with Automation Studio, and you can very well do this. We do have the documentation available for OpKey. We call it either OpKey as an internal name or Automation Studio. So we do have the documentation for this, Sina, and I believe you can use those to see how it can be done. In case you still need some help, just drop us an email and we will try to help you with this. Okay, so there is a question by Sam. He's asking, does this tool identify location? For example, if I have or I am in China and I'm getting alerts in specific location, and I want to pinpoint the location and identify the location where I got alert. So this is a little complex scenario for Automation Studio to do it, because if you have noticed, Automation Studio is actually recording the workflow. So in a way it is possible. I'm not saying that it is not possible. It is very much possible, because if you are, let's say, as per your example, you are in China and you are getting an alert in a specific location, and you want to pinpoint the location and identify the location where you got the alert from, right? So it means, if I understood your requirement correctly, on your application you are getting an alert from some location from China, for example, and that location, whatever alert you are getting, you are actually verifying that location mentioned on the alert to get the exact location, right? So if that is the case, it means you must be having certain database where you are checking the lat long information of that particular location to identify which location it is, right? So if that is the case, it is pretty much possible, because we, as I was mentioning to in some of the previous questions, that we have a test driven data driven feature available here. So you can actually simulate different networks by providing lat long information using the data driven technique there, and then you can use this for this particular test scenario which you are saying. I'm not very sure whether I have answered your question the way you are expecting it, but if you are not satisfied, please drop us a personal question, and we can probably connect, and I will maybe I can explain you in a better way, or I can just showcase you this particular feature. All right, so the next question is yeah, the next question is by Amit here. He says, by any chance, can I record a test script for desktop web apps? So Amit, yes, it is pretty much possible. You can actually record the test cases even for the desktop apps. You would have noticed that, when I was selecting the recorder before I start recording, there were four options available. One is the mobile web, mobiles, desktop, and Oracle Forms. You can actually use it even for the desktop apps. Okay, so there is one more question by James. Question is, can I create the test cases on any device and run on any other device? So James, I think if you would have noticed when we were showcasing you the demonstration here, I have actually used, I believe, Nokia 5 for creating the test or recording the test script, and while executing, I actually used Google Pixel. So yeah, it is pretty much possible. You can actually record the workflow on any of the device which you have, and you can execute it on any other devices. There is no restrictions as such. And that's the beauty here, basically, with the Automation Studio and pCloudy both. Yeah, so I think we are approaching towards the end. We just have 2 minutes left, so I'll be taking the last question now. And if I have not answered all the questions from all the participants, please excuse me. I will be, I'll still try to get back and give you the answers on one-on-one basis after this. Okay, so the last question I'll be picking up from this is from Babani. Can I use the recorded script to run on iOS devices? Okay, so Babani, the demonstration here I have shown on for the Android. So typically, if you are writing or creating a test script for Android, you cannot run it on the iOS because typically the applications will be different. Even if it's for the same I mean, from the same company, same application for the same purpose, you will have APK for the Android and IPA for the iOS, so you cannot use that. Secondly, you have to actually create the new test script for the iOS, because the object elements or other stuff will be a little different for the iOS and Android devices, because the developers are different there, right? So you have to create a separate test case for iOS platform. By the way, the recording feature what we have seen for Android is not something which is available exactly as is for the iOS, because iOS is a closed operating system. We are still working on that, but you can still go ahead. You can get the object names. You can just add those object names, and then by using the keywords, you can still create your test case on for iOS platform. I hope I have answered your question. Yeah, there are quite a few questions still unanswered. I'm extremely sorry. We are actually reached the end of the webinar here. I will still be noting all your questions, and I will try to answer all these questions uh, in one-on-one. I'll definitely answer your question and send you through an email. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. I hope you have enjoyed the webinar, and it will be pretty useful for you to create the test cases quickly and execute it on multiple devices using pCloudy. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.